Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining Shop Talk Live. My name is Rick Ramirez. I'm also known as Rick's Two Cents, along with my fellow co-host Steve from Steve Makes Everything,
Howdy, y'all.
Andy from Andy Bird Builds,
What's up, guys?
and Roger from Roger's Shop.
Howdy, howdy.
Looks like we've got a decent amount of people ready to join live, and of course, our loyal fan, Clayton. Aloha from Hawaii, everyone. Please smash that like button.
He's a staple.
Yes, that's a good thing.
Welcome, everybody.
Happy hump day, everybody. Happy hump day. After my day today's work, I needed this for sure.
Now I'm kind of in the same department there.
Modelo.
All this DEI.
Actually,
stuff,
I've got a whole bucket of it here.
nice. All this DEI stuff that, companies are getting rid of, they're not whatever. And I had my boss actually tell me today that I don't realize he wants to officially tell me, air quotes, that how lucky I am, and realize that most people don't walk in my position, the rank that I walked in. I says, Dave, what you don't understand is it's 26 years in the field, right? Like, so I may not, have been a desk jockey my whole life like some of these guys, but I can run circles around anyone I work with. And that's not being cocky, it's just being honest. But it's like one of those things you're like, how bad do I need this job? You do realize I'm a pretty good fighter, right?
I had that question roll through my mind every day for the last 18 months that I've been working.
Oh, man.
And then one day I answered it.
I was really
no is the answer. I don't want to be here.
I was really looking forward to this video. We say happy hump day, but it's a sigh of relief for me too, just bullshitting with you guys and seeing the same people and watching our community grow. And yeah, I needed this today, guys. So thank you.
Hey, did we get? Have we hit 400 members yet in the Facebook group?
Yes, I actually shared it on Facebook and made us a little like.
We are 404 right now.
Nice.
Yeah, so we have officially hit it. So that's very cool. Yeah, I made a little some artwork. Let's see, where's it at? I don't know if you saw it. Yeah, you see it.
Yeah, that's cool.
Go upstairs now. Yeah, so we hit 400 members. Very cool, very cool. If anyone has any questions, let us know. Let us know. It's the first time joining, or even if it's not, just let us know where you're joining from. It's cool to actually meet other viewers and find out you see people are rubbing shoulders, so to speak, didn't even know your neighbors. Aloha from Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania?
It's where they make pencils.
Not pencils. Pennsylvania is where Vampirino lives.
Vampirino? What is that, a cartoon or something?
It's a show.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
All right.
We'll go viral for that. Other kids may understand.
Pennsylvania.
Nice one. Manuel said, hello from Southern Maine. Nice one, nice one.
I got this.
Okay, go upstairs now. Please go upstairs. Thank you.
I got a little bit
Means
of show and tell here for tonight.
All right, let's see it.
Starting with that shirt.
Oh, no, besides that, this is a return from Amazon. Amazon buyer returned their purchase. What stated was the reason was the contents were damaged. Well, I got to show you what they sent me back.
Wow, that's some damage.
That's nice. Wow, yeah.
So what did you send them?
Oh, this isn't the first time that's happened. But they usually, what they do when they do crap like that is maybe some rocks or something to make the weight.
This one is an empty box.
This is not worth the trouble to file the fraudulent claim. You'll involve an hour trying to make a claim for that back with Amazon. That's why if you are going to sell on Amazon, be aware that happens, and not a lot, but it happens. So because of that, everything I sell on Amazon has a higher price than what I do on our website, Etsy, or eBay.
My sister ordered a scooter, like one of those expensive electric scooters, and they didn't box it. They shipped it in the box and said the scooter, and they put it in front of their house. What do you think happens when the kids get out of school? Swipe, right? So and she has a Ring camera, so she literally saw someone just walk off. You know what I mean? And they made her file a police report.
What do they expect when there's a box with a big picture of a scooter on the side.
Right, it's worth over $1,000. Like, why did you put it in a box covering up what it was? How often do you get that, Roger?
I probably get 3 a year where somebody will send back an empty box, or they'll send me some rocks or something like that. And that's out of probably I would say we do at least 1,000 sales a year on Amazon. But it happens. And I just thought I'd show that tonight because that box came and I thought this is kind of awful light for a 3-pound package. I opened it up and there was absolutely nothing in it. Not even a return slip. It just nothing.
So on the Amazon side, so do they have to send the package back to get a refund, or how does that work?
That's what they're supposed to do, is send the package back, but they're supposed to send the stuff in the package,
Well,
not just
yeah,
the box.
right.
I mean,
You're making some ridiculous demands, Roger.
I got into a big argument with one of the Amazon reps here a couple of years ago. I says, well, that happens. You just kind of have to accept that. I said, I'm going to order me a 85-inch TV, and I'm going to send the box back.
Yeah, right.
Oh, you can't do that.
Just make sure
You get a
it's an
free
Amazon
TV
product.
and you get rid of some garbage.
Make sure it's an Amazon product, so you don't screw a seller. It's directly to Amazon. My wife just went to this Amazon store today. I guess you pay by the pound, and there was people that were like, I guess like brand new clothes or shoes are like not in the package or with the tag off of it. So Adidas, Nikes, all the stuff that they sell for, like, you buy it by the pound. So she said there was like all these little mom and pop type stores. They assumed they were because they were ordering, like, purchasing hundreds of shirts, right? Nobody would do that, right? But crazy.
That's
Latinx designs. So you still gotta come up with that OnlyFans credit card for Steve there.
Oh my God.
Actually, after I saw that post, it was funny because now it's coming up in my newsfeed on Facebook, and a lot of people on Etsy, they sell a sticker you stick over your credit card, so that it still exposes the the chip and all that. It still works, but it won't actually say it. And it says OnlyFans, so they embarrass people when they pay. I thought it was funny.
Steve, you running any sales, like 50% off or anything?
No, that's not my jam.
Oh man. If you want it, you got to pay full price.
For what? Oh, everybody pays full price with me. That's how it works.
That song, if you want my body.
Well, the thing is, like 90,
take me home.
90% of what I do is custom, right? So I'm only going to make one of them. It's not going to be on sale.
Yeah. No, I agree
He
with
said
that.
he watches your videos, Steve.
Well, he watched. So I just did one yesterday about not negotiating prices because customers, right?
Oh yeah.
Like I said, like in the intro, that it was like you get a customer who brings you an $1,800 job and then says, "Oh, can you do better? Because I can get this for $100 at Walmart." And my answer is, you look at your watch and you say, "Well, you better hurry. They close at 9."
That's why I like doing memorial stuff, to be honest with you. When I did anything that was not memorial stuff, people always try to, bargain, especially Mexicans, man. They're like the king of haggle, right? They always want to come down on the price. But when it came to memorial stuff, it wasn't even questioned. Like nothing, ever, not once, ever. Like I tell them, hey, it starts at 50. He goes, it's pretty much sky's the limit, right? What do you want? And I break down, it's all itemized, and they just choose it within their budget. And I've never once had anyone ask me for a discount. So that's different.
Yeah, you sell a base price and options, right?
Right.
Yeah, I typically don't get requests like for discounts. I just typically I can sense it. Like if someone asks me for a price, I just never hear anything back. Like if it's too high, I just
well, sure, but it's just the real problem is those people are the kind of people who will buy something from you assuming you agree to their dickered down price, and then they'll spend the next 3 months trashing you on social media, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I got ripped off. It's like, well, screw off. It's not worth doing business, right?
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
I've intentionally done jobs like that where I just bid it way out of control.
Yep.
whatever I really want, I just triple it. And if they took it, then maybe I'd deal with it.
Well, yeah. So I have done that. It's like, you talk to somebody and you go, yeah, I know you're going to be a problem customer. So what I would normally charge somebody else $200 for, I'm going to charge you $400.
Yeah, but every now and then
sometimes they'll say okay,
like,
and it's like, fine, I'll do it.
Like, what?
You guys
I've
ever
done that
heard-
before too. I've just like way overquoted something that didn't want to do it, and they say, "Okay, go ahead. I'll just gonna get it."
Yeah.
So Roger, they want to know what's the price on an empty box?
Oh well, just in case anybody's curious, what was in there was a set of mounts for a SculptFun S9 laser.
Oh, so
They're
it's someone
3D
in the
printed.
community.
So it's like $10, and they
Someone in the community, come on, man.
so then priority mail to send that to where did I send this to? That went to Texas, so that was probably $12 priority mail to ship that.
We
Yeah,
should
tell
do
what-
something,
when they return it-
and everyone can mail them a package.
You say,
Yeah. So
what's,
you
what's
should
your
get on,
address?
yeah, you should get on social media now and dox them, right? Just
Yeah.
Yeah,
like, don't ever sell anything to this address.
I and actually was tempted to give the name and everything else. I'm not going to do that, but
Send people in the box.
the,
Hey, I
the other
tried it. They
downside
won't
is on an Amazon return, they send it back UPS, which is way higher than what post office would be for a 3-pound box. So I have to pay that too. So I mean,
Then it says-
the whole out of pocket thing, I'm out about $30.
That sucks. Dennis says, "Do all of you guys do this full time job?"
I try not to, but it tends to be full time.
Yeah, it's full time for me.
I still work.
Not this, but actual work.
You know, I was talking to Daniel the other day. He hasn't been in our lives in a while, and he said that, you know what, he's been focusing so much on YouTube that he hasn't sold anything.
That is the challenge, right? Like, I mean, lately,
Yep.
like March has been brutal for me from a YouTube perspective, right? Because I wanted to do a couple of business videos that I've been lingering on for months. And then I had a couple of other things I had to get done, contractually obligated to do. And I go to my shop and I start recording video and I never get a chance to do anything. But I did have to take a break this week to do a couple of things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I ordered like 200 fence pickets, and there's just always something to do. And I told him, I gotta make these flower boxes. He's like, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, you don't understand something. It's like a small window of opportunity, right? The next 2 to 3 weeks is my opportunity. After that's gone. I mean, they'll buy here and there, but that's like your cream of the crop, right? And like with us, the only thing that saved me was we had like 80-degree weather, and then it snowed. It was like 78 degrees, right? Right,
Yeah.
Roger?
Sounds like the weather on the West Coast.
It snowed, and it was crappy. So maybe they bought me a little time, but time is of the essence for seasonal items for sure.
Now this week I had to make probably 600 Lamicoid signs for solar guys, and when they come to me, I drop what I'm doing because they bring good business.
Chris said we have a chain here called the Reject Shop. I send the price negotiator to.
There you go.
Clayton said he got an empty package from Amazon the other way around. Man, terrible at fishing. Yeah, that's crazy though.
There's terrible at fishing.
You guys, any questions? Let us know. Hey, so spring has arrived. You guys doing anything special?
I own a greenhouse business. That's special.
So
Roger won't be making any videos until like July.
Yeah, it's really tough for me right now. In fact, I've got help coming this weekend. We've got 9,000 lavender plants to transplant, so they're going to do that this weekend.
Wow.
So my daughter would kill me if she knew this, but she's anal retentive like me. Like if something's sloppy, she'll literally rip it up to rewrite it, right? And the reason I'm going to show this is because my mother used to always say, speak it into existence, right? When you want to do something, write it down and speak it into existence. And then it happens. And my daughter literally wrote out goals for 2025. Goals for 2025. And she wrote out, she threw it in the trash and it took it out, right? 7 goals that she wants to do. And I'm asking, like, do you guys still do that type of thing? Like, what are some goals that you want to do? Like, hey, I want to, post 3 marketing videos, or hey, I want to do at least 1 new venture per week, or do you write down some type of goals to hold yourself accountable to it?
I do that.
I don't
every
write
day.
them down. I think of stuff that never gets done, but
Well, I write them down.
I write down too much.
Yeah, see, that's my problem too. I'm so disorganized that if I don't write it down, it's just never going to get down.
Yeah.
I actually made, when I decided I was going to quit work full time, which is approaching 2 years ago, I made a list of things I was going to do in the first couple months that I, quote unquote, retired. I actually found it in my notes the other day, and all of those things are still undone.
So this is what my daughter
Because I
wrote.
lost the list.
Yeah.
My daughter wrote, number 1 is enforce better study habits. Number 2 is reduce screen time by iPad or bedside. Number 3 is eat healthy, maintain good weight. She's a girl, right? Number 4 is get all A's by the end of the semester. She's in all AP's honors classes. This kid's smart. She's not like me. Number 5, keep and maintain room cleanliness. Number
Nice.
6, stay productive. And number 7 was go to sleep by 10:30 and on the weekends by 11:30. Like, I know grown adults who wouldn't have a structured goal, anything to remotely reflect this.
I mean,
my thing is I can't stay up that late. To me, 9 o'clock is like,
Yeah, I'm the same way. And because I actually test, measurably on the autism scale. So there's some certain habits I have that are unexplainable. One of them is at 10 to 10, I head to bed. I read until 10:30 and then I go to sleep.
like by the minute every night.
Yes. And
Nice.
and I wake up I wake up early, but I get out of bed at 5:20 in the morning. 5:20, not 19, not 21, 5:20. And I actually slept in last week. I slept in till 10 to 6. And my whole goddamn day was ruined. Everything was off by like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
well, I've got this must be stuck in my system circadian rhythm, of going to bed fairly early. And I retired in January of 2019. So I didn't need to get up at 4:30 anymore.
Yeah.
I still do. I still wake up at 4:30. Sometimes I'll lay in bed till 5, but and if for some reason, if I would sleep later than that, like Steve says, it just ruins the day.
Well, you get a headache if you sleep too long.
Well, I've got young kids, so you can just throw all that out the window.
Yeah, you're up at some random time.
I don't even know what the next 12-hour. I don't know what it looks like.
My wife says to me, I think you need to go to the doctor. I said, why? She said, you're always tired. I said, what do you mean? All this whole week you've been going to sleep by 10:30, 11 o'clock. I said, so what? What's wrong with that? Well, maybe you got low testosterone or something, need to get checked, or maybe you need to get your blood pressure test. And I was like, what do you mean I'm going to bed at 10:30? She's like, you used to be able to stay awake for days because I was on Storm, right? You know how that is, Roger.
Yeah,
So we'd stay awake. We'd do 2 days straight, 8 hours off, and then I'm sorry, no more than 3 days straight, 8 hours off, and no more than 1 day straight. That's it, right?
3 days.
And
I can't stay awake for more than about 8 hours. I have the best thing about not working full time for me now is I can have a nap at 2 p.m.
Yeah. So she says, you used to be able to stay awake for 3 days. I'm like, you don't understand something. I conditioned my body to do that, and over years, and I haven't done that in 3 years. So my body's not used to that. So I go to sleep normally by 12, 12:30, and I'm up, like Roger said, by 4:30. If I want to. It's 4:30. It's like, so you sleep 4.5 hours a day, and every now and then you just like get tired. So maybe
I'm tired all the time. So
yeah. So maybe I know she doesn't watch our lives, but just admit like, hey, maybe it is our age.
What I discovered is as I got older, and it's really only the last couple of years when it's been really bad. I get a lot less sleep, and doctor of course says, as you get older you get less sleep, but I still need sleep. That's the problem.
All right, guys, put it in the comments. What time do you normally go to bed? What time do you normally get up? Let's hear this.
Kind of put your age bracket in there because
there you go.
Yes,
I'm in my getting towards the upper 60s here, so 9 o'clock to me is kind of bedtime anymore. Yeah, them days of my young days are going out and bar hopping and staying out till the bars close, and then come home, sleep for a couple hours, get up and go to work at 6 o'clock. Now I can't do that anymore.
Yeah, I
couldn't
could
even
never
think of doing
actually
that.
do that. like when I was a kid, I was like the only kid in my neighborhood that didn't have a bedtime, because by 8 o'clock I was gone.
Yeah.
Willow Tree said my Shapoko 5 4x4 last week arrived, cranking out some projects.
Nice.
Good deal.
Where's your Onefinity?
I said I wish I could say the same. You know what? I got an email that said that, hey, American, we're taking our time.
Is it still in the queue?
Yeah, it's in the queue. I couldn't even believe that they couldn't even like reply to me with like a.
Don't they
email.
still have the thing that tells you what serial numbers they're working on?
Nope. I can go on right now and.
Huh.
Well, I'm just gonna have a look, because they used to do that. Like both of my Onefinities, when I bought them, you could go to their site and it would show you what they were working on.
Nope.
And I guess maybe they probably don't do that anymore.
Well, I'm still in the queue too for one of my Anycubic printers that was 3D printer was supposed to be here last week. I thought, okay, it's going to get here. Got to make room for it. I sold my 2 King Rune printers. I got a whole lot of room on the counter over there. I still don't have that Anycubic printer here. I'm in the queue.
Yeah, it appears that they removed that.
I'm logging in right now to see if they say any change before I make myself a liar. Here you go.
Yeah, there used to be a list, and it would show you this week we're working on serial numbers in this range. Or order numbers, I guess, not serial numbers. So on a good news front, I believe I'm getting an X-Tool metal fab. I'm
Nice.
quite excited about that.
Did
I
you-
don't know when
Did
it's
you
going
make
to
a
happen.
video about that?
I did.
Yeah, I saw that.
That I'm pretty excited actually, because there's a few things that I can do with traditional lasers, even with some CNC stuff, and then that.
Yeah.
And anything you do in this business is really about setting yourself apart from everybody else, right? And
Yeah.
it's like the challenge. I'll say a lot of people run into is they buy like a $500 diode laser and they can engrave things, but so can a million other people, right? And it's a struggle to get to stand out in that crowd.
Yeah.
So, things like this where you have tools or techniques that no one else does, gives you a real advantage.
So a good thing you kind of brought that up, Steve, because I've actually gonna challenge myself in a new video that's coming up, and I saw this, and I thought it was done on the CNC until he moved it. Have you guys seen these illusion laser engravings? They look 3-dimensional.
Yeah.
Like if you look at it, they look 3-dimensional. And
Yeah.
then when you turn it, you realize like, oh, damn, it's flat. It's not.
No,
a
they
CNC
actually
engraving.
make those that are 3-dimensional too.
Yeah.
Like you can turn it, and like if it's a laser engraving of somebody's head in the middle of glass, you turn it sideways and you'll see their ear.
No, I'm talking about on wood. But the way
Oh,
it's
yes.
done, if you're
Yeah.
looking at, when they show you the video, they show you like this, right? It
Yeah.
looks 3-dimensional, and then they turn it, you realize it's not. But the way that it's engraved,
that's actually a very, very old technique, right? Old Renaissance painters used to use that technique.
Yeah.
And I was standing
I've seen some very cool things.
I was standing in the hallway between the Vatican Museum and the Sistine Chapel, and there's a ceiling there, and you look at it and go, "Wow, this is all like 3-dimensional." And then you look at it and from a different angle, and it's like, no, it's still the same. This is actually paint, and it looks so amazing. And they're doing the same kind of techniques.
I like what Chris says here. My biggest surprise is there's not enough hours in the day for retirement, and that is so true.
Yeah, that's what people told me when I said I was going to retire. I worried that I wouldn't have anything to do, and they said, "You're going to find that you have less time now than you had when you were working."
Yeah, yep.
Do you
And
think
it's so
that's
true.
Do you think that's probably depends on the person a little bit too?
Probably.
Yeah. Because
Yeah,
I know some people that just recently retired and are absolutely lost. Like,
you do need something to land in, right?
Yes.
Like I mean, I knew what I was going to do when I stopped working full time, because I was already doing it. But my wife talks about retiring, and she's like hardcore workaholic type. And I said, the problem you're going to have is you don't have anything to go to.
She's gonna boss you around.
Yeah, but I'll be in the shop. So I'm actually trying to convince her to retire and become my video editor and my ops person.
Oh wow. Willow said he gets up at 6:30 Monday through Friday, executive job, eats, and goes to sleep by 11. He's
Yeah,
50.
that's kind of mine. When I worked full time, I got up at 6:30. I found when I retire, I get up at 5:30, and I actually go to my shop and I work till 7:30 ish, and then I come back and I wake my wife up and we have coffee, and then I go back to the shop after. So
Well, 10 to 6. I wish I could sleep that many hours at a time. I can't do it.
yeah,
Roger. That's why we look like we look.
Oh, he's only. Oh, this is Sky. She's only 45. You're still young.
Yeah,
I would say if I had a consistency, it's 10 to 6.
Wow, he's up at 9
but kids throw that all off. So
yeah. Sleep till 5:30. 8 to 9. Okay. 11 to 6. 84. He's 84.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that if I could stay up that late. And occasionally I will manage to stay up till like 11 o'clock or midnight, but it's pretty rare. The weird thing is, if I do stay up that late, I still wake up at 4:30.
Yeah.
It's just like it's a circadian thing that's stuck in me.
Roger, come down and wake up with my 10-month-old. He's getting up at 4:30 every morning.
So my son is 5, but he sleeps in his own room. But occasionally, I wake up with him in my bed, right? So the only thing I told him was like, look, legit, if you're gonna come in my bed, just wake me up, because I feel so bad. I wake up and he's like at the end of the bed, like shivering with no covers because he wanted to sneak in there.
Like, oh shoot, you're here.
Yeah. I'm like,
Jeez.
just tell me you're here. I'm at bed at that point.
Chris goes to bed between 3 and 5 in the morning. Chris, you should move to North America. At least you'll be in the right time zone for sleeping in the dark.
That's crazy. Bed by 11, 12, up at 6:45, working. Another month away for retirement. There you go.
Yep.
Yeah, Mike.
Hey,
Steve.
Said I'm 39, 3 kids, Monday through Thursday, sleep 10 hours in my truck, but Saturday and Sunday, 5 to 6 hours sleep. I have a buddy of mine he drives a truck, and he knows I get up at 4:30 in the morning, and he's waiting for a load. So he's like, "What are you doing, bro?" And it was like Saturday one day. He's like, "Why are you awake?" I'm like, "Because I can't not sleep." So it's like 4:30. We're sending the Facebook message. He's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm taking a dump, Facebook scrolling." "What are you doing?"
A little too much honesty there.
Yeah. Thompson, 65 years young, better around 1:30 to 2:30 a.m. Wow.
Yikes. See, I'm waking up about that time of day.
I'm putting in the hours, man. Putting in
3 to 4 hours of sleep. I mean, I couldn't operate. I could do it for like one day, and then.
Rich said, 40 years old, I go to bed around 11. I get up at 3 a.m. for work. Work the weekends, I get up at 4 to 5. See, this is what I'm saying, man. Like, we are hard working people in this country, man. Like, it is just seeing the hours that people put in. This is the reason people are watching these type of lives, because they're busting their ass on their Monday through Friday, and they're looking for a side hustle, because they're obviously, nobody wants to sleep 3 to 4 hours every day, right? But you do what you got to do. Willow Tree says, plus I live in the States, so I'd probably have to sell my firstborn to buy anything in Canada. Man.
Yeah, but you only need half as much money to buy something, because the exchange is low.
Once they change their address to U.S., it'll be different.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen, actually.
I know. I'm just booking them.
Here, 3D Experiments has got my Bamboo Lab P1S 2 weeks ago, going nonstop. Retired, so a 3D print for charity only. And there's nothing wrong with doing things for charity. In fact, I've got a project coming up Saturday I'm going to relight a kitchen in a commercial nonprofit place. I can't say where it is, but I'm going to change all their fluorescent lighting to LED, and I'm doing it gratis. I mean, it's no charge.
Hey, I tell you what, 3D Experiment, I don't know if you know this, but we have a pretty well-known growing Facebook page. If you're not already a member, please do join. I would highly recommend that you post some things that if you're doing things for charity events or raise things, I'm sure as a community, other people would be willing to purchase to raise things for non-for-profit things or have that's awesome. That's phenomenal if you're doing that type of things to help other people. I'm sure the community, the makers community would support you as well. And if you're in our live and you haven't joined our Facebook group, make sure you join it. So if you go to shoptalklive.club, it automatically forwards you to our Facebook page. That way we don't have some crazy URL we're sharing and you're like, what? So it just makes it a little easier. Oh, man. Did you see this, Roger?
See what?
Hold on a second here. Hold on a second.
Oh, Jay, don't play.
Oh, there it is.
No, it gets better. Gets better. There you go.
Hey, Roger.
It's because you're such a snappy dresser, man.
Yeah.
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 So I don't know if anybody else saw the bamboo H2D announcement in a lot of the reviews. I was quite excited that maybe this was finally the time to get a bamboo, and then I saw the output. It didn't look all that fantastic, and Roger said we were talking before we went live, and he didn't seem too excited about it either. So
I've heard that.
And it's one of them things. They're trying to make it an all-in-one. So you got a 3D printer, you got a die cutter, and you've got a laser. If you want a die cutter, get a die cutter. You want a laser, get a laser. And even reviewers have said if you're going to want to do a lot of laser work, buy a laser. Don't buy a 3D printer and do laser work with it. It's, Creality tried that with their 3D printers, putting the laser head on them, and then they tried the die cutting thing. And maybe bamboo's got something I don't really know about.
The problem though with having a laser in there, especially if you have a die cutter, but probably 3D printing too, is there's going to be so much crud inside the laser after a while, right? And this is my issue with the Xtool M1 Pro too. It's like you're going to cut something with a laser and then you're going to lay down a piece of paper on there and draw something with a pen, right? Like it's going to be crap when it comes out.
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
We keep saying that anytime you buy a tool that's specifically for a unique skill set, so to speak, whenever you buy anything that's a multi-tool, it's never the best of anything, right? It's kind of like mediocre across the board, right? I think that just goes in general.
And I'm going to show a little something here. This is the newest We Create Vision Pro 45-watt laser. So
very cool.
Nice class 1 laser. I have been playing with it. Well, I got a large order for coaster holders a week ago. So I cut 100 coaster holder parts.
Look at that, Steve.
Out of this. And the inside of that laser is now absolutely filthy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Does this still use their Make It Create software, or does it have just full LightBurn support?
The LightBurn support, it does have LightBurn support, but that's a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Well, I create my stuff in LightBurn and then I export the SVG and pull it into their.
It does have. We Create does have probably the best LightBurn integration, but it's still problematic, right? Like you lose a lot of functionality. Like the reason they built Make It Create or Xtool with XCS in the first place is that you can take advantage of all these extra features that LightBurn just doesn't handle.
Yeah, so I have the new All Mill Craft, and one of the things that I do, the first thing I do at any laser ever I have is, I build a grid, right? And I like it. Maybe it's old school, you don't need it. And we talk all the time about not using a camera. You like having direct coordinates, right? And that's how I work, with everything. And because it has like this weird place that comes with this, it basically is expandable so you can have a pass through. So if you don't have the pass through, then it has this weird indentations, and you can't really put that wood in there, right? So you're gonna have to use their camera. So I fought for 2 days, 3 days with LightBurn. Because on our last live, I said the only time it gives me a good score is when I'm in the center. Well, then it's not all the way to the right. It's not all the way, where LightBurn's telling you. So Adam Stack sent me a video and basically told me to stay in the center. And within 2 minutes, obviously, I had it configured. But I want to see how accurate it is now using that camera on the outskirts, because you're really centered in the camera, versus this fairly large workspace.
Any camera, well, I'd say any camera in LightBurn is at best a vague assessment of where something is on your material.
Yeah, so we'll see.
You can get it, like I know Clack spends a lot of time to do calibration on things, and you can get decent, but it's just such a pain. Like you put thicker material in, and now your camera's not calibrated for that, right? So it's just
one thing I will say about WeCreate and their camera, and that it is dead accurate.
Yeah, I like their camera.
Dead accurate. And like I said, I did my array and my setup and everything in LightBurn, exported the SVG, pulled it into the Maker software, and pulled it in and laid my plywood pieces in there, and it's just there. Hit focus and then start, and then I walk around and do something else for a while.
Is the camera in the lid on that WeCreate?
Yes.
Yeah. I think that's the key, right? Having that perspective.
Yeah, so it was on the alt mill.
Is it?
Yeah, but the difference they have is they actually lift the entire cabinet when they focus, right?
Yeah.
Which means the camera never goes out of calibration because it's always the same distance from the material.
Right.
The only thing I've had with the camera on, at least now my other one, I never put through this hard a use. But I mean, I just pounded the hell out of this last week. And I cut so much plywood with it, I actually got the camera cloudy. I had to clean the lens.
So Willow Tree said, looking at the alt mill for the last few months, and I'm hitting the learning curve hard so I can start making and selling this summer.
Nice.
So when I was looking, I thought the three major competitors were alt mill, Shapeoko, and One Infinity, right? And you can argue all three, but I think those are the top key players.
Yeah, in the desktop hobby market.
Yeah, in that entry level business market. Yeah, they're the ones.
Yeah.
Prosumer, we'll call it that.
Yeah. James said he works in a fabrication shop.
That would be fun.
Steve says, Steve, if things were worse here, I'd move. Just saying.
Don't wait for it to get
Canada
worse.
has a housing problem. So if Americans start heading off to Canada,
The housing
Canada's
problem
very
isn't as
problem.
bad as everybody says, though. I mean,
I saw the news. There's people sleeping outside waiting to rent houses and all that.
well,
I mean,
sure,
that
that
happens here,
happens
too.
everywhere. That happened before, but it just became good news at some point. I don't mean good news. I mean,
Made good
News.
media.
Yes, good media.
Stuff people would watch.
Yeah. Tim said, Steve, your UPS guy is really going to hate you with this.
Yeah, this is the Metal Fab reference. I don't know when they're going to send me one, but they did send me a message to say they were looking at doing it. So
It's 220, right?
fingers crossed. Yeah.
That's cool.
So
man. I hope you get it. It's very cool.
So as it happens, the guy I made all the solar signs for, he's obviously an electrician, and he happened to be in the other day, and I said, I'll trade you some of these for some of that, right? Just put a couple of drops in for me, because I want to get one once all the tariff crap is done, I'll buy a saw stop, and
You can wait for our president to change, because I don't think that's going to happen.
well, if it takes 4 years, it takes 4 years. I'm not paying 25% to anybody.
Hey, Steve, I'll charge you 10% and I'll smuggle it in for you.
You can come for a coffee, yeah. As long as you unload it off the truck.
All right, Steve, I'll bring it for you as long as you want to do that jump with me.
So when I got my saw stop, I actually went and picked it up at Acme Tool up in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. They loaded it all up in the truck for me. I literally had to use my forklift to unload it.
Yeah,
So
it's not going to be light.
local to us.
It's gonna be a
It's local
few
to
hundred
us,
pounds,
Steve.
but-
So
I think
if
you
do
went
the
all
jump,
out.
I might make the drive.
You went all out, didn't you, Roger? You got the
Yeah.
big one, didn't you?
Yeah, I got the PCS. Yeah, I spent $6,200 altogether with the router table and the router lift. And
Okay, so let me ask you this, and be honest, Roger. And I know you are, but I'm just saying, forget all the safety stuff. Do you notice any difference in the cut quality?
yes, quality of speed compared to my 1975 fully modified.
Well, I'm just
Several
saying you've been
times over
using a
saw.
saw table for a long
Rockwell
time.
Beaver from
I'm just saying,
1960.
You've been using a table saw for a long time. Does it feel like a $6,000 saw, or does it feel like that's a $6,000 safety saw?
It does, and it's not so much the safety thing. Of course, that is important. But one of the things I absolutely like is I bought the industrial lift for it, where you just step on the pedal a couple times. I can roll that thing anywhere in the shop real easy.
Yeah.
Where my other one I did have on wheels, but it took like me and a teenage boy to move the thing around.
Right. But it's also you got the router table, right?
Yeah.
Into it. So it's not just a table saw, not 6,200 just for the table saw.
No, it was the table saw, and I didn't get the 52 inch because I don't have room for it. I got the 36 inch with the all cast iron inserts at the top, no MDF, and the router table and the router lift with the dust collection box. I mean, I kind of went all out on it, but with what we do, especially with when we build candy boards in the late summer, you know, and I build near almost 1,000 a year of those. It's
I
just
won't lie,
well
Roger,
worth it.
when you said you had it, I went to Lowe's and see if they were a seller as being a Lowe's affiliate, and I was like, nope.
Nope.
Yeah, there's not too many places that sell them.
Yeah.
There's a couple of places here that aren't actually
I'll
saw
fix it
stuff
later
that
for you.
sell them, but
I will say one thing, and of course, I'm not sponsored at all by Acme Tool. They're a nationwide company. They do have a satellite place here at Cedar Rapids, Iowa, about an hour and a half from me. And everybody up there is just super nice and super helpful. They'll make sure you get all the right things and everything to go together. And of course, then they want to show you all the Festool candy in their shop, but you know, I'm not into Festool, so.
You know, I would say that I'm not saying Festool is not a cool tool, but they are just like, man, it's like they're the ones who put the patent on something, so it's like the cool kid on the block that nobody else can make, right?
Yeah. You know, they call it the Festool Kool-Aid. The same with woodpeckers. They've got some fantastic woodworking tools,
Right.
but their prices are so ridiculous.
Yeah, that's like that joiner that I have now, the DeWalt version. It's only because Festool's patent ended, right? Like that's the only reason that exists. Like that would be like a $2,700 Festool tool, right? Not a $300 DeWalt. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean the Festool domino system is great, but wow, it's just
Exactly.
Right.
I like this.
It said retired at 37 due to health from the software industry. My sleep is no schedule at all. I try to conform to my wife working 10 p.m. to 6 a.m.
Well, I will say it's very important to conform to your wife.
Yeah.
That'll
That's
help.
after 30 years of marriage, so
yeah, they tend to like conformance.
yeah. Yeah, Willow Tree Woodworking says, I don't miss those days. My kids are 26 and 23, so yeah.
Both of my kids are over 30 now,
So I started over. I got a 16-year-old and a 5-year-old.
That's a spread.
Yeah.
Yep.
My wife said, I don't want to work anymore. I said, why? Our daughter's old, you know, pretty soon she's not even think we're cool. She didn't want to be around us. I said, I understand if we had a kid. Bam.
And that's what you're talking about. It's important to conform to your wife.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, like Chris says, 40 odd years of working afternoon and night shift screws with your sleep cycle.
Oh,
I did a few things, you know, in my career. I was 45 years in the electrical trade, and there was a few years I would do a second shift or third shift, and that just, that just messes with you horrible.
Yeah, I tell you what, Roger, is that I lost some good friends because they'd see how much money you're making. You know, you pull up in a $117,000 truck, and they're like, "Dude, what are you doing?" And I'm like, "Bro, you don't understand something. Like, it's not how much money I make; it's how many hours I work. I work 110 to 117 hours a week. Go get 3 jobs, bro. You can make the same amount. Get a job. You know, give me a job with you." And I'm like, "Dude." There's a lot of guys who are 8 hours strong, 10 hours strong, 12 hours strong, but there's not a lot of guys who are 48 hours strong, 36 hours strong.
Yeah.
I've lost friends because of that. You know what I mean? But
Yeah,
yeah.
3D Experiments here says the H2D, that's the newest bamboo printer. Says there's too many things for too much money. It looks like a great machine, not for his needs. And I am kind of in the same boat. I have lasers. I have die cutters. I don't need to duplicate that in a 3D printer. And for what the cost of the 3D printer is, which I think is about $2,500 with the EMS and none of the extra accessories, And yeah, you do have a little bit larger work area, but I'm waiting to see what my Anycubic Max comes because I can do the same thing with that for a lot less money.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
just want to mention something really quick that I watch our stats a lot, right? And I see how many people are actually watching our lives. And there's a fairly amount of people who actually watch it after the fact. So
Yeah.
if you're watching this video after the fact, comment, say something, because we'll still reply.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
I
well,
appreciate
we
the
see the
fact-
we
yeah.
see the comments.
I appreciate the fact that you're watching afterwards. Maybe you're absorbing the content. Maybe just us, the camaraderie, the brotherhood, so to speak. As Andy said, it's like four guys drinking beers in a garage. Or sometimes you don't come to learn; you just come to bullshit, right? And it's just happy hump day, as we say. But if you have legit questions, feel free to either put it in our Facebook group, no answer, or put it in the comments below, and we'll still answer. Just because you didn't join the live, don't mean we can't answer your question.
Yeah, I try to answer every or give feedback for every question or every comment because they're not always questions, but that's a function of the aforementioned autism scale. It's just like somebody's waiting for something, I have to go answer it.
Yep.
Hey, thanks, Steve.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, by the way, Andy, did you see that since Stephen gave me a mental reminder here about his dart box? Did you see the dart box that Vectric posted in their latest newsletter?
So literally right like 7 o'clock tonight, I clicked on it and scanned through that and just got a glimpse of it, but I didn't look very closely.
Yeah. So the question, I actually had a question for Stephen about this or anyone else who plays darts. Because the way they do it is the dart box, you take the flights off the end of the darts and you put those together in a single slot, and then you put the three dart shafts in their separate containers. And I wasn't going to do that because I wasn't convinced that people want to keep taking the flights off the darts every time.
Yeah, I have a couple of those boxes. I can actually go grab them right down but they're plastic, but they're nice clips.
Yeah.
But it's
I made one, which I still owed one to Stephen. It's basically molded for the dart flight, right? So, and then after that, I realized, well, if you have a different style of dart, it's probably not going to fit in here. So that means you're going to have like 300 variants of this dart box. But
hey, Steve, I have a question for you. That big ass monitor that's on the Onefinity, does it have any kind of HDMI out or any kind of other video source out?
No. You don't need it though. Why do you want like something you can put on the wall?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. So if I was doing other things, I can just glance at something or look at something. I was just wondering.
Yeah, I don't think you can put. Yeah, I don't think there's I mean, inside the box, the first thing you're going to do is crack this thing open anyway, right? But there's, I guess it's a Raspberry Pi or something that controls it all. It's something like that anyway. And it has an Ethernet port on it, which they claim they don't support. There is an external Ethernet port. And it probably has an HDMI port, but I don't know that they put anything out on that port.
Okay. Multicrest said, hello from Georgia, checking in. Dedicated CNC computer and screen, kind of cool. Yeah. Oh, another thing just came to mind since we're talking about looking at specs is I think that YouTube used to be, and I think we kind of touched base on this last week. YouTube really used to be a kind of a thing that you thumb through on your phone, right? And I'm doing a deep dive on our specs, and it's becoming 46 to 36% views on a TV. So when people ask us like, hey, why are you reading these comments or why are you doing these things? Because, hey, somebody might have that TV and the volume full maxed. It's the same exact reason that somebody'd have, their phone snoozed or locked in their pocket and they're listening to their ear because they're doing other things and doing that. So
yeah, when you made this comment, I think it was last week, I went and looked, and in my analytics, I'm split pretty much 3/3. So a third mobile, a third computer, and a third TV. It's
TV
not quite
viewing-
a third because there's somebody out there who uses a tablet to watch
Yeah.
it. It might actually be me because that's how I watch it most of the time. But
Well, in
My
the,
TV viewing in the past was like slim to none, and now that's what I'm saying. I was really surprised at how.
YouTube
I'm
put out in their the CEO or whatever they call themselves, the leader of YouTube, puts out a yearly newsletter, and they said that there's been a massive shift in TV viewership across the platform. That more than half of all views are coming from television across the whole entire platform.
That's more a function of how people are using televisions as opposed to how people are using YouTube, right? They're getting rid of cables and satellite.
Well, my thing is there's better stuff on YouTube than there is on network TV.
Yep.
I mean, let's be honest. Let's do a little
I
survey.
mean, we're
here.
on YouTube, so of course.
Yeah.
It
Let's
must
do,
be awesome then. Yeah.
let's do a little survey here. How many people actually disconnected their cable, and they're purely streaming now, and that's becoming more and more common.
Yeah, I mean, I did.
That's what I do.
I did it.
We still have satellite, but that's because my wife wants it. If otherwise, we wouldn't have it. I'd just be streaming. But the streaming part and having to work on the smart TV, it's a little beyond what she can do with the remotes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
he
well,
asked me to share. So this is Willow Tree's first work on the Shapoka.
Nice.
Yeah,
Hey,
good job.
Cool.
Very cool.
My first project ever on my Shapeoko, this was 7-8 years ago now, was the Shape of Michigan. So a similar project, Shape of a State. Great first project.
Yeah, very cool.
now do it in a 3D relief.
There,
I did a
Jim
video
says-
on it. You can go see how it's done.
There you go.
Jim says, talking about buying as an engraver, most of the items I engrave originate in China. I'm really afraid of where the costs are going to be going over the next month or so. It is going to kind of depend. And to give you a little example, in case anybody doesn't know, we own a greenhouse business. The potting mix we use has to be 100% soilless for USDA and APHIS requirements so we can ship interstate. Therefore, our mix comes from a company called Sunshine, which is in Canada. And
Gotta be
that
good.
is imported. So therefore, I bought several pallets of it ahead of time, just in case it gets hit with that tariff.
Did you get a 4-year supply?
So,
Well, I've got enough to get me through this year. You know, I've only got so much space here around the shop, but yeah, we have pallets of mix sitting in front of the shop now.
yeah, so one of the things we keep saying is that I don't want to say it, but there's another Facebook group who's pretty well known, another influencer, and she posts all these like affiliate links. Like when somebody asks, like, "Hey, where can I buy this type of things? Where can I buy this type of things?" It's always referenced to Amazon, and I would say like Amazon's a great resource. Amazon almost ruined us to the point that like you're like, it's not going to be here in 2 days. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like we're just so Amazon
less.
spoiled. But keep in mind that Amazon's a retail. You may get some decent deals. I'm not saying that, but a good portion of your profits is in the item itself, right? So this is a legit concern to be concerned about. Like, hey, we're talking about, Steve's favorite making coasters. If I order coasters from Amazon, and I pay 85 cents, that same coaster, if I order from China, 6 cents, right? So
Yeah, and a lot of Amazon sellers are actually buying from China.
That's what they do. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, literally, I have 500 of those slate coasters. If I took those and put them on Amazon for 85 cents and 95 cents a piece, and I bought them for 6 cents, that'd be a good profit just to get rid of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, that's the problem though, right? You had to buy 500,
Yes.
and then it becomes a storage issue.
Yeah, 500.
And
Gotta
if
buy
you got
500.
space, yeah, you're better to do it that way for sure, because you're going to save massive piles of money, right?
Yeah, 6 cents. There were 6 cents each if I
And
bought.
then the other thing too is not just space. It's the real problem is in business is cash flow, right? Because you have all that cash sitting in
It's all
product.
overhead. Yeah.
Well, See, me is that I float cash sometimes. Like I'll something come in and I'll do a project that basically breaks even because it paid for my inventory.
Well, the next
like,
thing
yeah,
that comes
yeah.
up then is at tax time in the IRS and your Schedule C is inventory.
Yeah.
Yep.
What you do not want to have is inventory.
Yep.
Yeah. But I also said that, and I'm going to start this. We talked about Sam's and Costco, right? Costco and Sam's have those chickens. Everyone loves the chickens, right? They're $5. At the end of the day, like they put them at the back of the store for a reason. I mean, you can go to Costco and buy a large pizza, drinks, all that for like $11. There's no way they're making any money, but you're going.
Well,
in
it's
the
like their
store.
dollar hot dogs.
Right, they're dollar hot.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I used to eat Costco. I used to eat lunch at Costco every day to the point security started following me. I was going to steal something. I'm like, dude, I'm required to take an hour lunch. This is the cheapest place you can eat lunch, and it's good. So I get a hot dog and a cheese pizza, and I just walk around for an hour. You know what I mean? Like, my truck has a GPS. They know I didn't take an hour lunch. You know, and they're like, really? And I'm like, yeah. So I'll see you tomorrow, fucker. Leave me alone. You know, but so I literally thought with the coaster, okay, if the coaster cost me 6 cents, just say, share my post. This is what I'm selling, or share one of my posts, and I'll give you a free set of coasters. So if they cost me 6 cents, I give them 5. That's 30 cents. How much does Google AdSense or Facebook Marketplace ads cost? More than 30 cents? They have 300, 400 friends, 2,000 friends. What do you guys think? Is that worth it? Let us know. Let me know. We're always talking about what ROI, return on investment.
Yeah. Yeah.
Steve, you want to take this?
Why not CNC? Another cool name.
That is a cool name.
Says he watched my video on the Omni One and bought one, and he thought it was a good decision, and he looks forward to its arrival. Oh, well, then how do you know it's a good decision yet until you open the box and go, oh, it's just an empty box?
It's hoping it was a good decision.
Steve, you're not giving him confidence here.
Well, you know, it was in the Roger theme.
Yeah.
Or worse, it comes with a big toucan on the side of the box.
So I'm surprised Bamboo didn't send you the new machinery review. Well, they're not. They won't even let me be an affiliate. I cannot put an affiliate link in my videos because I criticize them.
Well, for what it's worth, don't feel bad because I haven't criticized them and they still won't let me be an affiliate.
Constructive criticism.
I mean, I know why Creality won't because I really criticize them. I'd throw them in the trash. But,
Reality reached out to me this week. They have a new, well, it's not new. I guess it's been out for a month or so.
You know, Creality
the Falcon A1. So I might have one of those coming.
They've reached out to me like 5 or 6 times, and then they just flake off. Like, what the hell is that about?
Well,
all the emails and then
if you look at the email address, it's probably not Creality. They hire a marketing company to find people for them, right?
Yeah.
But you know, it's been a while since they did an actual, you know, we'll say, you know, upper middle class laser as opposed to these $10,000 wonders. So
yeah,
I have a couple coming actually. There's one which I can't name yet, but it's an entry level laser.
Nice.
That one's coming soon. It's
so
a class
we
one.
have 2 giveaways coming. We have Rogers longer, and we have a robotic lawnmower giveaway too. So that's cool.
What's Rogers longer?
I said Roger. Roger. I meant Steve.
Yeah, I have to reach out to them again. I want to give away the longer Nano Duo with, I guess, all the frills. I think so. It's the one. So they, and I think Sky mentioned this too. They requested that I send it back so that, because it was a very early like alpha. It's not even beta really. So I sent it back to them, and they were gonna send me one, and I said, well, can I just give that away on our live stream? So they seem cool with that. So hopefully we can do that soon.
Very nice of you. Chris said
Longer is a great company to work with, actually.
Yeah. Chris said the real problem with cameras is different material thickness. So unless your bed raises, you fail to need multiple calibrations. Yeah.
That's one of the nice things about the We Create Vision. because the whole thing raises and lowers when it's focusing. It's always an absolute perfect calibration.
Steve, you want to take this?
We took the last one.
Roger, you want to take this one?
I need to engrave 16th, 1/8 inch deep graphite or brass for glass imprinting, mostly 2-inch square or less, kind of like a wax stamp. Recommendations? That'd be a fiber laser.
Fiber, yeah.
Yep, not a diode laser. You won't do it.
2-inch.
Where are you getting a piece of graphite like that?
Nuclear plant.
I worked in a nuclear plant and we didn't have graphite.
No,
That kind anyway.
No.
Well, our reactors don't use graphite. They're not graphite reactors.
I would say probably at least a 20-watt fiber laser. A 60 watt would be nice,
a 60 is probably
60 would be nice.
You can certainly do brass fairly well with a 20 watt or even certainly a 30, but I don't know about graphite.
The only thing that I would
never
say
tried it.
Yeah, the only thing that I would say is that when you're being heavily aggressive because it's a lower watt laser, then like every 3 passes you should do a cleanup pass.
Yeah, I do that even with a 60.
Right.
Not 3. I think I do 10 or something. But
right, but I'm saying you're maxing it out. You're taking the biggest bite you can because you're trying to maximize time. That's what I would say. And the cleanup pass is just real quick. It's not nothing aggressive.
Yeah.
AGT
is saying I really like my wig create because of the camera. Never had an issue, and other than me clouding the lens over because I cut so much wood with it at once, I've never had an issue with it either. It's always dead accurate.
That's why they make Q-tips and alcohol.
Yeah,
right.
So Steve, being from Canada, has everyone ever asked you how much wood or woodchuck chuck a woodchuck could chuck wood?
No, but when you're talking beavers, we know all about beavers.
They're beaver experts.
Where I live, we don't have woodchucks, in part because they can't dig a hole here. But we have these ground squirrel things that are
like prairie dogs.
Oh, little striped ones.
Well, they're not prairie dogs because they live on the coast, but there's something like that.
Yeah.
And there was one in my garden this year, and every day he came in. Like I had lettuce growing last year, and every day he'd come and go, "Oh, green!" Boom. It was like the middle of August before I finally had a salad. So I put up a fence.
Yeah, we fight with ground squirrels around here. That and groundhogs, and raccoons and deer, constantly. In fact, our garden has a 8-foot fence around it to keep the deer out.
Yeah, we have lots of deer here. They love hostas though. So.
All right, Steve, this question's for you.
Chris says that dart box. I think I'll have a few orders from my dart club. Is this so, Chris? You're talking about the dart box from the Vectric newsletter, I assume. It looked really nice, and the reason they pulled the flights off was because it allows them to make the box smaller.
Yeah,
I get it. That's why I wanted to know from somebody like Steven who plays darts, whether taking the flights off after every game is an acceptable thing.
So from somebody that is not an expert dart player by any means, are you like preserving the flights when you do that, or is there? I mean, what's the reason for that other than taking up less space?
See, I would worry more that if you keep taking them off, you're going to do damage to them.
Yes.
Now it's only a piece of plastic, so maybe it's probably not that big a deal. But
I guess they made a video on it, so I don't have
some crazy ridiculous. My darts are probably like $40-$50, but still $40-$50. I just wouldn't want to take them on and off at all.
So, I need to watch the video, but how does this work? Like, I mean, you throw a dart at it, I know, but like, what holds it up? What do you lean it up against something?
What, the dartboard?
Is it just the box?
It's just a box to carry your darts in.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's for the people that are like really good at darts, but
or want to intimidate people because they're not really good.
Yeah, right.
That would be me.
Okay. All right. That makes
or like people
sense.
that come to pool tournaments and have their own pool cue. Don't use the pull cue provided by the.
Yeah, and it has to be one of those ones you screw together in like 3 pieces, right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
And
right.
I'm not that good at that either.
To me, darts and pool are like, you know, you suck, you get a couple beers in, you're doing real good, and then you start feeling real good, and you start doing real bad. You know, that little small window of opportunity.
See, now with me, it's bowling. My thing
Okay.
with bowling is by the third game and the third pitcher, I'm pretty good.
But are you bumper bowling? That's the question.
Are there still bowling alleys around? Like they've almost
Oh, yeah.
disappeared.
I
Oh
love
yeah,
bowling.
yeah,
I love
yeah.
bowling.
It's a big thing here.
It's not. It used to be big here, but I don't know where there's any bowling alleys anymore.
I love bowling. It's a great time. Drink, have beers, laugh.
That's a good social activity for
yeah,
sure.
exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't do too crazy in what the score is. I just have a really good time with people.
Just don't get drunk and do a handstand and have your friend try to throw the ball between your arms.
Because it'll hit you
On
in
the
the
lane.
forehead.
Now, how do you know that?
Well, so it actually it's a story my wife tells. One of her friends in high school did that, and she like busted her teeth out of her face.
Oh,
Yikes!
Yeah.
nice one. Ben said he normally watches Thursdays from Netherlands. It's 1:15 at night. So thank you for joining us in the middle of the night. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
Night owl.
Yeah.
Okay,
What's crazy is he
47-year-old
stays up late the next night to watch it.
Yeah, here's
Yeah. Make sure you join our Facebook Live group, guys. Come on, man. Make sure you join our Facebook group. Join it. All right, go.
I hate
back up
when
to
you do
that
that.
comment.
Let's take it out. Hold on. Let me take it
I
out.
lose where we are in the comments.
Let's go. Hold on.
I try to keep up, and then I'm like, yeah.
And then the little blue box disappears.
Yeah.
Hold up. Where are we at, Steven?
47.
Yeah.
47 years rough carpenter.
Here we go.
This
Okay, I'm a 47-year-old rough carpenter out of Wisconsin. That's a neighbor of Illinois. Tired of the dealing with the weather, weight, and attitudes. Thinking about purchasing a CNC with zero experience. There you go, Andy. You can direct them the right way.
Yeah, so it's possible. Don't quit your job first, though. Don't quit and then start. Start, give yourself a little bit of a runway to get going. But there's a lot of great machines out there. It depends on your budget, but I always recommend if you want to not be limited by, like, how do I word this? Severely limited by your machine. I think at least $2,500 to $3,000 budget. I always hesitate how to say that because there's always one person that would be like, well, I have a Fox Alien and I've done this. And I'm like, yes, I get it.
They sell a CNC at Walmart for $100.
Or $99 lasers.
So
Yeah.
First of all, I think the Poge is new. The answer to your question here is we all started with zero experience.
Yep.
And the other thing I'll add here is your first CNC is probably not your last CNC.
The other thing that I would say is that we go down these rabbit holes sometimes, and that's the whole idea of these lives, right? We tend not to ever have a script, and that's the whole point. Is that anything that you guys, any question you have, that's the direction we're going in. And sometimes the direction is just marketing. We'll go down to marketing, how to sell or how to promote yourself, and just keep in mind that, like, as a carpenter, that's phenomenal. That's great. But you can be the most Billy badass woodworker in the world. If you can't market yourself, you're never going to make a sale. So there's two sides of that coin.
Yep.
So, like, Andy's
exactly
course, and I'm not pitching him up, but what I'm saying is that's part of his course. The reason he's saying is that, like, great, you know how to use it, or even you're learning to use it. You still got to make sales. Like, if no one knows you exist.
Yeah, and this applies to laser cutting, to CNC, to 3D printing.
You absolutely need to be a marketer. I mean, you need to be able to sell ice cubes to Intuits. And I can't say Eskimos because that's not politically correct. But you need to have that mindset, and you need to get out there, and you need to be able to sell. I mean, people that can make all kinds of things, and, I got all this stuff, and nobody's buying it. Well, you're not out. You have to market.
Yeah, and
you should probably sell to Inuits, not Intuit. Intuit's the tax company. So.
Oh yeah, Inuits.
I think I was going to recommend sell ice to Canadians.
We have lots of ice, man. Not now, but
the other thing that I would say is if you're a carpenter, a long-skilled carpenter, I assume you have thick skin, right?
Yeah.
And the reason I say you have thick skin is you're going to have to fall for it a couple of times. And because you have to get used to being like a Jehovah's Witness, you go to someone's door and they slam the door in your face, you know. So like, you know, so how Roger House making these small deals, with these local businesses that are long-term businesses, big quantities, you know, like you gain their trust. Those are the type of things that you're probably going to want to be able to do. Like, so maybe local direct market to other people, you know. So just keep that in mind too when you're keeping. It's not always directly selling to your customer. Sometimes you're a middleman, right? And that's okay.
And it's not always what you think the people are gonna buy. I mean, I'm just gonna grab something here. You may think this is the greatest thing ever that you've designed and made, but nobody will buy it. That's because nobody wants it.
Yeah.
You need to find what people want.
Yeah. So I was gonna say that is one of the biggest. I mean, have talked to thousands of people wanting to do this. And I have conversations every week with one-on-one coaching and different things. And I had the conversation this week. And someone was very, very passionate about what they were making. It was nice. It was at a fair price point. Like it wasn't a quality issue. It wasn't anything like that. And they still weren't selling. And that's one of the things that people, you know, they try to like create the perfect product. Well, if I could only make a product good enough, and that is a lie. I've seen very, very crappy quality products sell like hotcakes. And not that quality isn't important, but it comes down to the customer. It's not what you think. If your goal is sales, you need to cater exactly to your customer. I mean, I use a restaurant example all the time. Like, let's say, I mean, you don't go into a restaurant, and I mean, I guess maybe you could, but I don't go into a restaurant and the chef doesn't tell me what I'm going to eat. No, I tell him what I want. You know,
well, we got a restaurant here. The chef will tell you what you're going to eat.
And I think there's also a fine line between woodworker and crafter, and you're stepping on toes either way. I'm going to go with that conversation direction, right? But like, I'll say Christmas ornaments. There's people who make a killing. I don't want nothing to do with it. But there could people that say like, I make these challenge coins, and it's crazy. You got to polish. I want nothing to do with that. You know what I mean? But like, you have to enjoy what you're doing as well to be able to see that it's worth your time, right? But there's some people who like don't charge enough for their work because they don't have to. Like if it's, you know, they just enjoy it and they're kind of breaking even or whatever. Mind you that you're in business to make money if that's what it's supposed to be, and you have to put yourself in position to make money.
Another thing to keep in mind is if you can possibly do it, find yourself a niche market. And I'm going to switch over on camera views here. This is on the Bamboo A1 lab printers. These are raven skulls, and they're actually hair ties that my granddaughter markets, and I make them for her. She's a crafter too, but she doesn't have 3D printers. These are geared towards the goth people, you know, women these are raven skulls, and they use them to tie their ponytails back, and extremely popular.
So we keep saying that always find a niche, right? Or you should find a niche, but don't pass up an opportunity for seasonal items. Walmart sells Easter, Thanksgiving, 4th of July, Christmas items for a reason, right? They can't sell them year round, but it's a seasonal item. So there's some people, every big box store in the world does. So find your niche and then grow your seasonal item list.
Yeah.
We do a big thing with Halloween signs, and I don't have any I could show right here. But from usually August until obviously the end of October, we sell a whole bunch of laser cut, laser engraved Halloween signs. After that, I mean, we don't sell them. It's it's a seasonal thing. I don't do Christmas stuff because I don't have time. I'm usually in Mexico, sitting on the beach drinking beer. And
so I do pretty well during Halloween.
Hashtag priorities.
I do pretty well during spring. I need to find more Christmassy type items that are my seasonal items that I can do well, because I do really well in the spring, my seasonal items. I do really well at Halloween, my seasonal items. I need a Christmassy seasonal item that I can sell.
Christmas coasters.
There you go.
You got 500 of them sitting in a box.
I tried, man. I posted in every Facebook group around me, and it was like wah wah wah.
Make color ones.
I'm even using one of my fork set coasters here tonight for my
So
beer.
I was thinking maybe Father's Day is coming, so maybe I'll do good on the coasters for Father's Day. Some monogram coasters. We'll see.
That's not a huge occasion though.
Yeah,
fathers are not really that celebratory for those kind of things.
Unfortunately, I have to kind of agree.
LTX Design says here the remote controller has Raspberry Pi. Masso doesn't have Raspberry Pi. Doesn't have Masso Link though. That'd be credit for Steve.
This is the Onefinity conversation. The Buildbotics controller uses a Raspberry Pi. In the Elite controller, they use the Masso 3, and it does have some similar kind of ports on it to a Raspberry Pi. There's a couple of USB ports in there and an Ethernet port and stuff. But I don't know if it has an HDMI port. I'll look though. I should look.
All right, let me know. Roger, shame on you. That's not hams.
There is a story behind this. I have 4 cases of Modelo because I did a favor for somebody.
Nice.
So I have to drink it.
Of course.
Yeah,
Modelo
but normally my normal beer is hams, but yeah, I like Modelo. Unfortunately, I don't have any limes tonight.
Well, I like Modelo so much. I just enjoy the taste of the beer.
Well, you're Mexican. Corona. You're supposed to like it.
No, like a Corona tastes like crap. It tastes like a beer through a sock. But if you put lime and salt, it doesn't taste that bad.
When we are down in Playa, Del Carmen, Mexico, and at the pool bar down there, nobody drinks Corona unless they're from America.
Right.
Because Mexicans don't drink Corona.
No, it's like Bush.
Down there.
Corona in Mexico is like Bush, or what is it, like Red
Bush
Ribbon.
Light.
It's like the bottom of the barrel crap. No, they don't drink it. But in the 90s in Mexico, you used to be able to buy beer in like pop machines. Like put a quarter in, it would just come out. I didn't see that the last time I went to Mexico, but as I was growing up, you could buy beer in there was pop machines like all over, but it was Modelo pop machines.
Yeah,
Modelo.
Here,
it's crazy.
The Poge, I like this name. Did you men have experience when you started and bought your first machine? My experience with lasers when I bought my first one was industrial steel cutting lasers. Huge industrial that I can say it now because I don't work around them anymore. But John Deere, like you look at an excavator bucket or the bucket on a end loader, that's laser cut. Those are big ass lasers. That's what my experience was. So when I first got my first diode laser, I'm like, now what the hell do I do with this? You know.
See, I worked on the other side of that conversation. We built industrial lasers for the first several years, but that skill doesn't teach you anything about hobby lasers.
No,
there's a light and don't put your hand in it.
Yeah, I mean, I learned G-code and stuff when I was working around these lasers, but that did me absolutely no good when I got my first laser.
Yeah. I had 0 experience when I got my first CNC. Before this, I worked in something completely unrelated. I grew grass for a living, and I think I've said this before. Not the kind you smoke. Everybody, that was kind of the
sod farmer.
Yeah. I was so think like NFL, MLB stadiums, field manager basically, and so that none of that. The reason I share that translates into what I do with a CNC, laser, YouTube, like none of it. So yeah, I learned it all in the last 8 years.
So if we were to drive past your house, we'd see a perfect lawn.
I think you said this last time I brought this up. No.
I don't remember you bringing this up before.
Come on, man.
No, man. I got paid for that before.
You do mow your lawn in a pattern, don't you?
You crosshatch your lawn?
No, I don't.
Oh,
as Rick is about to find out, you don't have to cut your lawn. So
yeah. So I would say this: I had 0 experience, and I was the guy I make fun of now. I was like the woodworker who was like, lasers, that's for pussies, right? Do it with your hands. And my uncle was like stuck on the Glowforge, right? He was like, man, I keep seeing this video. And he passed away. And my aunt said something to me, and I said, I don't know about lasers. I'll look into it. That's how it happened. And then she kind of was like, you jerk, you got a laser to give it to me. but I look into it. So I would say this, that we exist because not only because that other people are learning from us, we exist because we learn from others, right? It's kind of like a pay it forward type of thing. So like, don't be intimidated by the fact. I think that like we keep saying that laser is like the gateway drug, right? And I'll say what Steve says is that your first laser will never be the right laser. Maybe your second one or third one will be, right? And the first laser is always kind of like within your budget, right? But what I would say is this: you don't always have to have the 60 watt, the 70 watt, the 40 watt. I made plenty of things with the 5 watt laser, right?
Yeah.
So just if you're gonna start or you want to start, then just stop making excuses and start within your means. And don't
my very first laser was actually a 3018 CNC that I put a 5 watt laser head on.
Right.
It had no limits on it. I mean, it was a real big learning curve. The same thing with 3D printing. When I first got into that, my first 3D printer was a Creality 3D printer, Ender 3V2. I knew absolutely nothing about it. And I made spaghetti a lot before I finally got everything dialed down. And that was back in the day when 3D printers first came out. You had to tinker with them and mess with them and work with them all the time.
But never purchase anything though that you're dependent on. I'm going to put this on a credit card, or I'm going to finance this, and I'm going to make money and be able to make the payment. Don't do that. Don't do that.
I think the point is, no matter what laser you buy or what 3D printer you buy,
CNC,
there is a market for the things you can make with that laser.
Right.
My first diode laser, which wasn't my first laser, but my first diode laser was like an Afero, right? Like a 5 watt laser. And there were some cool things you could do, which I couldn't do with like a CO2 laser.
This is one of my favorite things that I made, and I made this with a 5 watt laser, and I sold a ton of these. You know, it says it's a Lyman prayer.
Yeah.
You know, and basically it's 3/4 inch plywood that I stained white, and I just, you know, I put masking tape over it so that I can laser engrave, and then I color filled it with paint. You know, and I sold a ton of these. So what I'm saying is that if it's something I want to start because you want to earn a second income or your whatever reason it is, a lot of times you're starting with pennies. So if you're always going to keep saying like I gotta have this, I gotta have that, if that's your excuse, just make a rational decision on what you can really afford to make, and whatever that is, make it work. And it's okay to set goals. We talked about my daughter with her thing. Set a goal. Like I would really like, you know, to be able to do fiber things. I'd really like to be able to do this. I'd really like to be able to do CO2, and set a goal to achieve that and make it.
I was going to say make a list of things that you want in the order you want them, right, and work towards them.
Yeah, exactly. So. Oh, and here's the other thing. If you get a sale or you get something that you can't make, there's nothing wrong with outsourcing. Don't lose the sale, because, you know, like you lose an opportunity on something, they go to somebody else, you can never get them. You outsource it, you made either nothing or you broke even on the sale. You're going to come back for something else than you could. So it's okay to outsource. You have to too. Just keep that in mind as well.
Yeah, a lot of times when you first start out, you need to at least break even. Don't sell stuff at a loss. But you need to at least break even till you kind of get a reputation. And I kind of fell into the thing with coasters, you know, right up Steve's alley here. But what I started out was I was making some ceramic tile coasters, and a bar owner asked me if I could make those without the backing on them. He wanted to use them as tile in an actual bar bathroom. And yeah, I can do that. He said, I want 100 of them. Okay, well, he owns several bars. So then it just progressed. And I made money at it, not a whole lot, but I kind of got a reputation then. And well, then some of the other higher end bars, you know, well, these would be cool coasters. You know, can you do these out of slate? Can you do them out of cork? Can you put my logo on them, say stolen from Luli's Bar and Grill. I probably
I
should.
thought that was cool when you said that, Roger. I thought
But,
that was really cool. Actually.
It's become a great thing. It's a good moneymaker. I could do it while I'm doing other things in the shop. I could set 3 or 4 lasers up to run at a time and just let them go. And I'm doing other things, and it's great. And
So
the 3D, those that are 3D print, actually have one sitting on the desk right here. I 3D print these coasters. I could set that up to do on 3D printers at night before I go to bed, and come down the next morning, pull them all off, and they're ready to go.
I thought it was hilarious when you said on the back, it says this was stolen from, because there's 2 sides of that coin. One, a younger crowd, it almost influences them to want to steal it, right? And when someone uses it at that person's house, damn well they're going to bring it up. So that's one hell of a marketing scheme.
Yep.
Right?
The other thing I do too is, it'll say stolen from, and it'll have the name of the bar and a logo.
Yeah, I think that's so cool.
On the front.
I
put our logo and business name on the back.
That's cool.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah. So, Roger, a question I think people would like to know the answer to. You didn't get there overnight, right? Like with the coasters, you just didn't fall into your lap. Bars didn't come running to you. Maybe they did at first. But what opened the door is you made a design on a slate coaster, right?
Oh yeah, and people liked it, and it probably took a year for it to snowball. And when I say snowball, I mean it really snowballed. I was just overwhelmed there for a while.
And
now
so
I kind of keep it like, if you want to buy 50, fine. If you want 10, I got time.
Yeah. So where did you first come up with that idea? Or did you see it somewhere, or when? Do you remember how you stumbled upon slate coasters?
I was at a bar in Mexico, and they had these paper coasters, and it said "stolen from" and had the name of the bar on it and stuff. It was in Spanish. I thought, well, this is kind of cool. I could probably do something with that. It's
Nice.
you got to be observant when you're out.
It, though?
The what?
Did you steal the coaster?
Yes, I did. Got it too. It's a Carta Blanca, which is a Mexican beer. Carta Blanca beer coaster.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
So I always think it's really interesting to think about how these things start, right? Because people get overwhelmed and they don't know. Like, they're focused on the end goal, right? Like, I want 100 coaster order, and they don't realize. This is in my experience talking to people that want to do this. So a lot of people don't realize that it starts with a simple encounter where, either somebody says something to you or you see something and you're like, you know what, I could do something with that. How can I make that unique? And you use a different material and, and put it out there for people to see it.
Yeah. Steve said, "You're right, Rick. I come here to learn and bullshit."
Yeah.
There you go. Chris said, "I usually watch lives on the computer and other YouTubes on a 100-inch TV."
Okay.
Yeah,
I watch YouTube a lot, and I have a TV in the bedroom, and if I can't have like insomnia for some reason or whatever, I'll flip it up. That's a smart TV. I'll put YouTube on it and watch a few videos.
Yeah, AGT Restorer said, "I listen on my phone with earbuds while working. I can't watch or only listen." So that's
And a lot of people do that. That's why we read the comments. It's because not everybody can watch it. They just want to listen.
You want to take this, Roger?
Yeah, personally operate a couple. This is from Multicraft Neo. Personally operate a couple of lasers. So going to the second stuff on the CNC router was pretty intuitive. Yeah, once you are familiar with the laser, picking up a CNC, there's still a learning curve. It's not going to be automatic, and Andy will attest to that. But it'll be a whole lot easier if you're transitioning from a laser to a CNC.
Absolutely.
Than if you've never done any of it before.
That's why we say a laser is a gateway drug, right?
Yeah.
It teaches you the notion of tool paths and settings for a path, and then the CNC router adds that third dimension, which causes a whole new set of complexities. But you understand what's happening at least.
You know, I've had a lot of viewers, and I actually did a video on it, of what x-axis means, what y-axis means, what z-axis means. Because most people have no idea.
Yeah.
And I made a real basic, simple video. You know, x-axis is left to right, for y-axis is forward to back, and z-axis is up and down. It's just that simple. But you know, people weren't born knowing that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Manuel says that cable for internet streaming for everything else. So more and more people are getting rid of the cable and just going completely streaming. I think that's why you're seeing people watch.
We actually got rid of cable internet. We now have fiber.
Yeah, I have fiber too.
Yeah, I have fiber,
Yeah.
but I also have any TV that I watch IPTV, so it's all streamed. Everything is.
Well, I was a big Cody fan until they kind of locked that down. But man, it was good while it lasted.
Yeah, there's lots of IPTV services out there that'll give you like 8,000 channels from, like, you can watch the news from Lithuania if you want.
Yep, that's why Cody was so awesome.
Yeah.
James, we dropped the cable and only stream. Cable bill is getting like $60. I was paying like $350 in cable.
Yeah, $60 is cheap for a cable bill these days.
But, yeah, we still have DirecTV, and we do not have the premium channels like HBO and all that. And it's still $75 a month. And the only reason we have it is because my wife has to have Hallmark. And I know you can get it on streaming, but it's too complicated for her to get through the remotes on it.
You know, it's funny you said Hallmark, Rogers. I never knew Hallmark existed until I was in Mexico, because it was like one of the only channels was in English. And it was like, my wife's like, let's go out. Why are you watching this? I'm like, I got like stuck into the movie. And when I came home, I knew Hallmark existed.
Well, for me, you know, and I make a joke with my wife all the time. And every Hallmark movie has the same thing. You got a girl, you got a guy. They get together at the end and have a romance or get married or whatever, and there's a dog involved.
Well, yeah, one of them always goes back to their hometown.
Yeah.
And meets the other one who's a butcher or a cake store or something, donut shop, right?
John says purely streaming here, no cable, no dish. Yeah, so more and more people are doing it. Sandy said tariffs only collect over $800.
That is true, but a lot of these importers, you know, like let's take Bamboo Labs for example. When they import their containers into the United States, that's way more than $800. So, you know, for me, buying my mix that comes from Canada, those pallets are over $800. I mean, it's.
So I used to order like $3,000 of DTF supplies at a time, and I know that on the paperwork they'd say it was like $126.
Oh yeah, because you missed that. I forget what that rule is, but. I'm surprised that they haven't done something about that. But
well, I was kind of freaking out because I thought, well, hey, I just ordered 30 kilos of DTF powder. Are they going to get to, some kind of cocaine or something? Because it's like, what do they call it? Vacuum sealed bags. And if they opened it to test it, like that's it. It's trash. Like throw it away. Like you ruined it. You know what I mean? Like you can't ship it to me like that. It's going to get all that moisture, all that. No, man. But they never once opened it.
Well, Sandy here says Temu takes time, but better price or free shipping. Most of the time it's better price, but you know, dye sublimation, I'm skeptical about a lot of Temu stuff.
Yeah, me too.
The only thing that I would say is that Temu has a great policy to protect you, but the sellers are good at their games, and they will string you along until you're beyond those dates. So just be wise to that. Brass would work fine. Yeah, if you're doing a brass, then like I said, 20 watts would be the bare minimum. 60 watts would be phenomenal for a fiber laser.
Yeah, 60 watts. Well, depending on the thickness of the brass, 60 watts would be able to cut through it.
Right. Brass is super soft. Now I'm saying that because I do tons and tons of brass challenge coins. I can do it all day on a 20 watt, but a 60 watt is so much nicer.
Yeah.
Muskrat, Steve?
Muskrat? What's that mean, Tim?
we have muskrats around here out on the river.
No, it was the rodent. No, it wasn't a muskrat. It was something that looked a bit like a groundhog, but it had a longer tail. but
Stacy,
not as long as a muskrat. The tail was hairy, not scaly.
Sandy said, put Epsom salt around, keep the varmints out.
Yeah, or an electric fence. I just put a fence around. My gardens are raised, so I just put a fence around them.
Oh, this is getting back to the darts here. Chris says that flights are replaced usually every 2 to 3 batches anyway, so the
Holy
flattening
crap.
damage is not really an issue. Say, I'm not a good darts player, so
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I guess that goes to exactly what Chris said. Someone who's
Okay.
at a professional level, they're throwing them away. It's not a big deal. And somebody who just wants a nice set of darts, they're definitely not throwing them away.
I don't think I've ever thrown a set of those away.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, exactly. Andy, you're up.
Willow Tree Woodworking says, Andy Bird. Hey, that's me. Does the Vectric V-Carve work seamlessly with Shapeoak? Can I create in V-Carve and send it directly to my CNC? Yes. Vectric is very good with, they have post processors for every CNC that exists. So it's just a drop down. Like when you're exporting G codes, you just have to select your machine and model. And yeah, no issues at all.
Speaking of Andy, I'm actually going to buy that this Friday. Yeah, so you should hit your affiliate code.
Sweet. Appreciate it.
Yep. You want to read this one, Roger?
I think CNC is like 3D printers. Started with an Ender 3 V2, so did I. Build open source printers. I finally got a Bamboo Lab P1S, bigger budget machine, way less hassles in production, and I absolutely agree with you. The newer 3D printers, whether it's be the X1 Carbon, the P1S, of course I'm preaching Bamboo here, or the A1, I mean, just flawless operation. I have no troubles with them whatsoever. I don't have to mess around with leveling beds all the time or worrying about bed adhesion or.
Yes.
Yeah, I think most companies have fixed that problem. But
Only thing that I'm going to say, Roger, stop me dead in my tracks. Think I'm wrong, but to me, 3D printers are two different type of purchasers. There's a 3D printer purchaser who's just like going to make things constantly for their shop that I don't have to order that. I can make it, right? But then if you want to become a seller, a single 3D printer is not really something you can make money off. You kind of collectively grow more to be able to put the volume out to make money. Am I wrong in that statement?
Oh, no, not necessarily, because I started out with one 3D printer, Ender 3 V2, and pretty soon I'm like, hey, I could make these things, and somebody want to buy them, and well, then I started have some laying here, laser risers like this. Well, I couldn't make enough of them on one 3D printer, so then I started buying some more. At one time, I had 16 3D printers, and they're all what I call bed slingers. They were all slow. They all ran Marlin. None of them were Clipper. So eventually, I have moved up and progressed, and now I have the X1 Carbons, the P1S, the A1s. I do still have a Corelity printer over here. I have a Ender 3 V3 SE, but otherwise, I'm going with all Bamboo and the Anycubic and the Core XY printers because they're so much faster.
All right, Amy, we got a question for you as it kind of covers your face.
Yeah, look at here. Mouse, sit up. Willow Tree Woodworking says, having just bought my CNC, I think that baseline is $2,500 $3K just for machine plus tax plus software if you don't want to use the basic free ones. Material cost, as you're going to burn through material. Yeah, I think that's accurate. Yeah. What do you guys think?
Yeah, well, I think the thing we tend to forget is the cost of the software, right?
So
Rick is going through this now, right? You just bought your $4,000, $5,000 Onefinity,
$6,348,
and then you still have to spend another $500-600 for software.
So then you got the table. I'm actually making a video about this.
Yes.
So I'm kind of still.
Then there's the bench.
Then there's a table.
Yep.
That's why I have the
Spoil board,
table, spoil board. Then I have my surge protector, right? And then I'm doing some electrical work, which I'm going to include in costs because I'm doing it myself. But if you'd had to have somebody else do it, right? What would that cost? So yeah, I mean,
you're gonna.
Oh, and don't forget, I got a spindle kit.
Oh yeah,
water cooled, and then I need to buy the cooler.
Then bits.
And bits. I'd say, man,
you're actually going to buy a cooler.
Yeah.
Like one of those 3X whatever they are 300
Yeah.
series ones.
It's like I'm actually going to buy the Monport because it's so cheap.
Yeah.
Even I know
I
they're all,
didn't bother. I just have a
I know.
like a 5-gallon pail full of
well,
liquid.
because honestly, we're a Monport affiliate, so we get a discount.
Yeah.
And
Oh yes.
and we all know they're rebranded at the end of the day, right? They're all the 5,000 whatever, but it's cheaper on Monport, so I don't care if it has the silkscreen Monport sticker on it. We all know.
Yeah. Sandy just threw in the chat here, way down at the bottom, but she just said dust collector.
Oh,
Yeah.
and I got the dust collector. Yeah, and I got the dust collector.
Are you putting in a proper dust collector, or are you just?
Oh yeah, no, I got
I
got
shop
the
bag?
big ass that's taller than me. Yeah.
So 220 volt.
You want to see it? I'll turn my camera around. I don't be able to catch it way over there. See it?
Oh yeah, it's over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, 220 volt or 110.
110.
Yeah, mine's
Yeah,
220. Well, mine does my whole shop, but
the interesting thing though, so I think it's important for us to talk about what that kind of investment gets you, right? Because a lot of people don't know, and you don't have to start there, right? We've already said that. I mean, you're going to have the capability of your setup of investing that much money is like, it would be really hard for you to outgrow that.
yeah, you're in business at this point. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the way I see it is that I'm at a point that I can't piddle around, right? Like it's got to make money or don't do it. What to say, a leap of faith. I told you that, Andy. Remember when I said that?
Yep.
You said, when I sent you the screenshot of all the equipment on the way, you said, well, you're in now. And I said, a leap of faith. You know what I mean?
I think I said you jumped into the deep end.
Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah.
Without a life preserver.
Yeah, but my wife even said, because the CNC's not here, and as other items start showing up, she said, you mean to tell me that you're buying things for a CNC that's not here? And I kind of went like, no.
We got a comment here from Chris, and I can relate to this. Have you guys noticed that quite a lot of the more profitable crafters and makers are the ones that start off not doing it for the money? I started off just doing it as something to do, just for fun, to screw around with, what I call a boy toy. Just a toy to play with, and then it turned out being something that made some
boy
money.
Toy. You need to call your girlfriend.
Yeah, I did the same thing. I never.
my wife
Even now,
calls
it's more for the challenge and to help people. But if I do a deal where I don't make money, it's not the end of the day to me.
Yeah.
All these, the lasers, the 3D printers, and the CNC and everything. And my stuff in my wood shop, my wife just calls them boy toys.
So I had to be the greedy one in the bunch, but it was always about money to me. And not that I don't enjoy it, because my wife's like, what do you mean you won't do this or this or this? But you can go downstairs for 4 hours till midnight and make man glitter, right? And it's like, because I enjoyed it, it was like a decompression thing, right?
Yeah.
But I bust my ass, man. Like, if I'm not making money, like, I got no interest.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. It's very interesting though, because I agree. There's a trap where people are like, I just want to make a sale. I just want to make a sale. I just want to make a sale. And they completely forget, this is a YouTube trap as well. They completely forget that they're actually creating something for a real human. And that's what it takes to sell. Like, you need to create something for a human that values what you made enough to pull money out of their pocket. So it is about the money, but it has to be about, that you're making something for somebody that is going to pay you. Right. I see a lot of and just reframing that in your mind. And I think the reason why that comment makes a lot of sense, and I agree with it, I see it, is because people that are making things for fun usually have more passion, because it's something they're passionate about, something that they're knowledgeable about, and something that they would like themselves. And then other people end up liking it as well, or needing it.
Yeah. So Andy, there's a question here. It says Steve Roger, and later he says, Rick or Andy, I'm thinking of running some 24-volt LED strips relay out on my CNC. Do you think that would cause an issue? Could I run a dedicated power? or should I run a dedicated power?
It would depend on how many watts that LED strip is.
So
Yeah, but they can't normally draw too much current out of a
this is what I would say.
out of a relay output. So you're actually probably better to put the relay on the relay output and put a 24-volt supply on the other side of it.
All of them.
You're probably only going to be limited to maybe 1.5 amps on an onboard relay.
Yeah,
This
I
is
think
what I'm going
that's
to say.
pushing
LTX design. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. You spend all that money on a CNC. Why are you going to mess with blowing something up, messing with electrical stuff, maybe voiding a manufacturer warranty for an $8 brick?
Yeah, use the output to
Just-
trigger a little 24-volt coil ice cube relay.
Don't even do it.
You can.
Yeah,
well,
just-
off that
yeah.
you
Don't
could.
even do it. Just
Yeah.
you can 100%, but just don't.
Yeah,
Why?
just get a power adapter
Yeah,
and
don't do it.
wire it in
You absolutely can. Just don't do it.
with a switch somewhere on your,
Exactly.
on your
Oh,
table.
so you know what's funny is that I just got a company, electrical company. They sent me this huge giant box, all different kinds of electrical stuff, right? And we had talked about. I was making fun of Clack because he's in the shop, and I won't say the word, but you know the A, and it makes things work in your house remotely. Because if I say that, all things are going to start chiming in my house. But when these Amazon sales happen, like the door bus, what is it, like 2 times a year, 3 times a year, whatever. I bought those wireless, you plug it into electrical and you could say, Alexa, turn off whatever, right? And it will turn it off. But the thing is, in order to stay on their network, you have to pay like a subscriber type fee. So I put these all over the house. I got all excited because I got this big giant savings. And about a month later, they didn't, I guess, continue to pay. So they were like bricks. So I was like, this sucks. So I threw them all away. But anyways, I made fun of Clack because Clack had a bunch of LED lights on the CNC. And he hooked up to Alexa and he said, turn on the lights on the CNC. So Clack, I'm going to bite your idea there. I already got the LED strips and now I got the wireless attachment. So we'll be connected to that as well.
Yeah, my entire house, my shop, my everything runs on Home Assistant. So
yeah, I got the Lutron light switches too, but Roger, you can contest to that. You'd probably be the only person walking my house who know what that is.
I know what they are. I don't like them.
Look at that $30 light switch.
Little side note here. We have an Alexa in our family room. We also have, my wife has a friend whose name is Alexa. So guess what happens when she's over?
Oh, yeah.
You can change the name. You know that, right?
Yeah, but we don't. It's always funny.
Ours is just affectionately called the girl in the corner.
I didn't know you could change the name.
Oh, yeah, if we happen to say her name and it says, pretty soon Alexa will say, I do not understand the question.
I didn't know you could do that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I might mess around and make something crazy.
You can give it a man's voice if you want someone to hang out with.
I don't mind. Look, if you can get your spouse and kids involved, making, marketing, selling, become way more far successful. I would say this, I own a farm, and part of it is I make my kids do chores, and we do a huge garden. It's probably about a 1/4 acre, but I give all the money to my kids, but I make them do the work. I mean, I plow the field, don't get me wrong, but I make them go pick the weeds. I don't use killer, and I make them stand out there with the farm stand in front of the house and for sale. And then I put my little stuff out there too. Actually, I do really, really well with the pumpkin stuff, with the Halloween stuff during that time because it's driving traffic. But I give it to my kids. But yeah, definitely. And you know what the thing is too is that like we keep saying just because you think it's cool doesn't mean sellers think it's cool. So by having multiple people giving you some inputs, you might get different markets. Chris said, I sell a higher price than I need to, so I'm not taking sales from other people that need sales.
Actually, sometimes when you have a higher price, people will think you have a better quality item.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the worst thing you can do is start selling stuff like dirt cheap.
And the other thing is you could use,
be a piece of crap.
Is you can really control what you can output, right? So just like anything else, when Walmart, they put things on sale, right? So if you're like, hey, like I'm bombarded with one particular item and I reached my max capacity. If you raise that little price, they can taper it down, but you won't lose customers.
Yeah, and as the economy's headed south right now anyway, right? And once that happens,
Headed.
people will
You mean getting
appreciate things that are quote unquote handmade. I mean, you've got some fancy machine helping, but things that didn't come out of a container off a boat somewhere, right?
Yeah.
You're up, Steve.
Jim. He was watching my video. Watching a video from Laser Everything. Good guy, Alex. He was talking about a Galvo with a 300 millimeter lens, able to do tumbler engraves without a rotary. Okay. Can you explain what this is all about? So we talked about this, Jim, where you can engrave across a curved surface without a rotary, but you can only go maybe 20 millimeters before you actually have to move the thing. That's basically what he's talking about. Now, a 300 millimeter lens gives you a bigger field of view, so you can go a little further, but you're not going to get around the back of a tumbler no matter what.
Yeah.
You can't really go beyond about the halfway point on the container. So the diameter basically is as far as you can go. Half the circumference.
And I don't know, so we don't have new rotaries yet because of me, so I'll get that rolling. So
yeah, the reality of the output here is it's not going to look great. As you get out to the edges, the letters will get a little fuzzy or won't be fully engraved.
But here's the other thing: is rotaries are not outrageous expensive. So just if you spent all that money on the laser, just buy the damn rotary, even if it's a cheap generic Amazon special. Start.
Yeah, the challenge Jim has, we've talked a lot, he and I. The challenge he has is the Omni 1 isn't fantastic for doing metal tumblers, like powder coat, right? So
I don't know if anyone's seen the DeWalt video I recently did on the DeWalt biscuit joiner, but it was a very.
I think I want one of those.
Yeah, it's actually badass. But the point is that like the Fest tool is like outrageously expensive, and the fact that you can get it for like next to nothing is like just because it had the patent. But what's funny is in the middle of that video, in the beginning of that video, my son, just for no reason particular at all, and no, I did not coach him on this. I introduced him as Little Ricky. Said, "I'm not Little Ricky anymore. I'm 5." So
I did see that. I did see that.
You know, and I was gonna shun him like, quiet, and I just let it run. But yeah, very funny, very funny. Kids say the funniest things.
There you go.
Yeah, Aussies don't drink Fosters. You mean the oil can beer? I myself don't particularly care for it.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of Foster's. I guess if you're in the outback and you need a drink, it's probably an okay thing at that point.
So Jim said, try to sell swag to Modelo distributors. So funny you said that, is that like placement of items in videos are very, very good idea. You get a lot of guys that'll make a video and they're doing on something, and you're going to see a Milwaukee tape measure that's particularly sitting there like doesn't have to be there, right? You ever seen one of my videos, you notice all the DeWalt Tough books. Well, guess what happens? I got a Lowe's affiliate now, and you're going to see tons and tons of DeWalt videos. So when you're making a video, if you're a content creator, placing something in the video is not necessarily a bad idea, because that could later on land you some marketing deals.
Oh, yeah. You've gone all corporate, man. You're a sellout.
Yeah.
No, I'm not a sellout because I've always been a DeWalt guy. Now, if you told me all of a sudden I was a Milwaukee guy and I was throwing all my DeWalt stuff away, you could call me a sellout, but at least I'm staying true and blue to, you know, the colors.
Yeah, this week it's DeWalt. Next week it'll be Milwaukee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know the thing's funny is that once you own all these batteries, the tools don't cost nothing, right? It's these batteries that cost everything,
right?
Yeah.
That's the reason. That's the reason I have Milwaukee everything, because I started
You're not gonna switch.
I started with a bunch of their batteries and a couple of tools, and now I just can't get rid of them.
Right. And I'm not saying like DeWalt's going to be so much better than Milwaukee. Milwaukee's going to be so much better than DeWalt. It's the batteries, really. That's really the cost, right? And once you're investing,
I really wish all these companies would converge on a compatible battery.
Yeah, that'd be cool. You know, because if you just buy the tool itself without the battery or the charger, it's actually pretty cheap, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like DeWalt, right? Like, hey, if DeWalt wants me to use their tools, then make their tools compatible with all my batteries.
I do see Amazon though; they sell like these clips that you can like.
I wonder how good those are.
The
though.
adapters. Yeah.
Yeah, probably clunky. You want to answer this, Andy?
Yes, Andy says mine was CNC for cabinet making classes at DMACC 8x12. I had to figure out the coding back in the late 90s. So I'm referring to how the first experience, how you gain CNC experience.
Yeah.
I think that's
that was the good old days of CNC, where you had like I ran into CNC first in machine shops, and you get like a guy who's like a 60-year-old machinist, and he's writing G code, and it's like, oh my god, and at that point, like a CNC mill, for example, would have been tens of thousands of dollars, so nobody could touch that machine.
Yep, except him.
I have to write the code for you.
Yep.
My first was a 3018, used it and learned with it. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. And then you put it in a yard sale and you buy something bigger.
Since said, Roger, what are you getting for the We Stole coasters? Well, I guess Roger, what would you mind sharing that? What are you getting for the We Stole coasters?
$2 a piece.
It's a good price.
$2 a piece and lots of 100.
Yeah. But keep in mind that he's allowing that price because it's a continued business, right?
Yeah.
And you also have to keep in mind this is a high-end bar. This is where, if you want to buy a martini there, you're looking at $12 to $15 for a basic martini.
Yeah. And the other thing that's cool is that clientele that's going to walk in there, they may ask that bar owner, where the hell did you get this from? Because they could be business owners themselves.
Yep.
Or it could be a continued investment in himself. All right, Steve.
We're running low on time here. Hey, Gord. Yeah. Steve, I enjoyed your Don't Justify Prices video. Yeah. Did you? Well, I'll ask in a second. He doesn't sell anything, but he creates, which is the important thing. Very good information. Thanks, Jim. Or Gord. I was going to ask anybody who watched that video whether they were insulted by my Walmart comment, because that's the second time in a video I made that remark. And the first time I dropped it in there, somebody left. This was probably like 2 years ago. Somebody left a comment. They were all incensed that I made a comment about not shopping at Walmart, or I don't sell to people who shop at Walmart. And it's not like I don't have a problem with Walmart. I have a problem with the people who have the mindset that takes them to Walmart. And
if you don't understand what those people are, go to Walmart at 2 a.m.
I don't want to judge anybody, but they go there for a reason, right? They're going for the best price, and that's not why I want people to come to me.
Competing on price is a bad idea, unless you're Walmart.
Yeah, unless you have a supply chain right from the manufacturer to your store shelf.
Steve, still one of your comments is you say a race to the bottom. Don't be a race to the bottom. You say all the time.
Yeah. Well, that's a tech business term, right?
And that's one of the things that happens on Etsy a lot is everybody starts undercutting everybody else. That's a race to the bottom. I go the other way.
Yep.
I think you want to be in the middle, right? You don't always want to be the top end guy.
No, but the problem on a place like Etsy when everybody's racing to the bottom is there is no middle.
Yeah.
Right. There's the people who sell the $5 cutting board and the people who sell the $300 cutting board, and there's no one in between.
But I think the big difference too is that you see all these influencers with that whole Etsy pitch. Etsy 2-3 years ago is a whole lot different than starting Etsy now. Etsy, YouTube, us. Somebody was trying to be us and start tomorrow. They have a whole different level playing field starting now versus us starting just the same as.
Yeah. Well, YouTube was the same way, right? It's easy. It was easier to get going on YouTube 10 years ago than it is now.
Yep.
Like even from when I started to now, YouTube is a lot harder now than it was when I started 4 years ago.
Absolutely.
I think I started 6 years ago, and 6 years ago I think is when I started, and of course my first videos were like pathetic, but because I didn't know what I was doing at all. But to get started now is just a whole different world.
Yep.
One of my first videos is so horrible. I mean, it's horrible. The audio is horrible. The video is horrible. But it's one of my most views, and I still to this day get tons of comments. And you know why? Because they argue with each other.
Yeah. So,
They're
so
literally
this
like,
is, from an analytics perspective, YouTube doesn't care if people are giving you a thumbs up or a thumbs down.
right.
Right?
And they're not even arguing with me.
They're
They're arguing
interacting with
each
your
other.
video. That's what YouTube cares about.
Yeah. I made a video about Vogue's tires. And people go in the comments and they'll start like disputing with each other. And all of a sudden I'm like, what the hell? I got 100,000 views this month on this video that's 8 years old. But, you know.
Okay, we're almost out of time. We got lots of questions left here.
3D Experiment said, I buy a lot of 3D printers and electronics off AliExpress. No problem so far. Yeah.
I have not had any problems with AliExpress.
Yeah, they seem okay.
Chris said Temu is a cheap knockoff AliExpress, unbranded products, items in general. I think
Yeah,
that
it's pretty bad when you have to knock off AliExpress with something even cheaper.
yeah. Wah wah wah.
Now, do I like my A1?
Clayton's got an A1 too.
Here's two of them, and I can't. That camera doesn't have. I can't remote control that camera to raise it up, but I've modified it a little bit with some compartments to keep the AMS filaments dry.
Well, so check you
Yeah, I love it.
for video covers. You know, I think I saw that the Ring video covers at one point, may have shared in the past, but I think that's awesome. We may have to.
It's a great idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, we saw. Didn't Willow Tree post these a while ago?
Yeah.
think so.
You know what, Will?
Somebody did.
I'm pretty sure you're a member of our Facebook group. If you're not, post that in the group. I'd love to see that. That's pretty cool. We're coming close to the live, so we're just trying to run through the last of our comments.
Okay, what do I think about the new Bamboo Lab HUD complete combo with the laser? My opinion is, if you want a laser, buy a laser. Want a die cutter, buy a die cutter. Want a 3D printer, buy a 3D printer. All in one is, slices, dices, makes julienne fries. No, I'm not sold on it. Maybe they have something good there. I don't know. But from what I've seen on some of the early reviews, is it does all three things sort of good.
Hey, Steve, you know what the problem with Canadian women?
Oh boy.
There's not enough of them. I don't know what.
Oh, man, I wasn't hungry until I smelled whatever the hell's going on upstairs.
Well, yeah. Well, especially your wife's is French, right? They're amazing cooks.
She said, dust collector. Yes, that was definitely on the list.
Yeah.
I said, going to sleep tonight. Thank you for joining.
Wait,
Appreciate joining. Sorry we got to your comment maybe later in the live. It's a ton of people. All right, Andy.
Yeah, Willow Tree says that he's $7K into CNC after buying machine, tax, table, software, bits, plywood for practice. Lots to think about when buying any type of equipment to make and sell products. But it's investment, right? It's an investment. And
well, not bits.
Yeah,
bits are a consumable.
those are
Rick's going to
consumable.
find that out initially. You consume a lot.
Well,
Yeah.
she said, Rick, you should have went to Andy's and loaded up.
Yeah.
I'm sure once I'm set up, Andy's gonna hate me. I'm like, hey,
Given that Andy's spindle weighs about 300 pounds, I don't think.
you know that what's that song? Lean on me. I'll be leaning on Steve and Roger for a while,
do
and
do it.
all of them together. Oh, that's not what my wife calls a boy toy.
Well, I'm actually my wife's boy toy because I'm 8 years younger than her.
Oh, all right. I call it man glitter. I told my wife I'm gonna go make man glitter.
Yeah, sawdust. Yeah.
Yeah. What you said? Go ahead. You're gonna read. Just go ahead, Steve.
LTX says Willow Tree. Depending on what you're trying to make, MDF is probably the better material for practice. Yeah, I like MDF. The only downside is you definitely need a dust collector and dust collection.
It's so dusty.
It just makes micro dust everywhere.
I don't know about your guys' area. For whatever reason, on Facebook Marketplace, I can pick up MDF for like free, like a lot. So I don't know if people are buying it for projects and they're just overbuying or what's the deal. But like 10 to 15 sheets at a time, I'm picking this stuff up. Maybe
What thickness? 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch?
3/4.
3/4. Well,
Yeah.
that's good for spoil boards. Keep an extra bit of it around.
Yeah.
The
That's
problem with a
expensive.
sheet of 3/4 inch MDF is you need 2 men and a boy to move it.
Yeah. That's remember
Yeah.
I was talking about the wall
Dense.
sections. That's literally why, because I had to have my wife, and I'm like, don't drop the corners, going to bust the corners.
Yeah, or don't drop it on your toe.
Yeah. It's
That's why my spoil board is 3 pieces, so I can put it together myself.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, my spoil boards are going to be screwed from underneath. So picking the whole damn CNC up is going to be a chore when I have to change it.
Build yourself a little jack for the corners.
I'm probably just going to have one of those, a little wench. Why is there a wench on your ceiling? You'll see. LTX Design said I have both MDF and plywood for testing on the types of product I make and sell. Yeah.
Yeah, I keep pretty much both the same things around here too. Oh, Clack says the lights in this CNC are wired from the factory. The shop lights are all on remote. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
You know,
home automation, well, just any automation for electrical stuff is so much nicer.
Yeah, Clack was showing off with his fancy dancy Xbox 360 remote, and I saw that I won't work on our CNCs, Steve.
Yeah, I'm gonna. I have in my pantry, because we always forget to turn the light off. I have a human presence detector in there, but I'm actually going to put some of those in my shop, because in addition to turning all the lights on automatically when I'm in there and turning them off when I leave, at night I can also use it for intrusion detection. So
there you go. Clack said my
rid of my
issue is that
motion
hyperactive and OCD makes me turn out really fast. I have a reputation in the area of turning out projects on short notice. Good news, last minute jobs pay well.
Yeah, videos too, Clack.
Yeah, no kidding. This guy. Seen that.
Yeah.
Clayton said, I love my DeWalt.
Well, I'm a big DeWalt guy because Steve was in the Milwaukee with the batteries. Well, I have DeWalt with the batteries, so everything I've got is DeWalt.
I'm actually half and half. I actually have half DeWalt and half Milwaukee.
What the hell? How'd you manage that?
I like them both. And
I have a few Makita tools, but they're actually corded, not.
Yeah, so I have a couple. I like a Makita chop saw for doing like crown molding, stuff like that.
Yeah, I forgot what made me get into Milwaukee initially.
And I like Makita routers, hand palm routers.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, contractors, all the pro guys used to use Milwaukee's. Now they've all switched to Hilti.
Well, I think that's because the warranty, though, right? They're pretty. Yeah. I think that's why they beat.
Yeah, it's actually made by the same company, right? Hilti.
Yeah, they beat the crap out of Walk and get a new one.
Yeah, but they little better parts in them. And...
So, I was out on a job when the 20 volt flex batteries first came out. They came out on a substation. The DeWalt's there, and they're giving the batteries away. I think I told the story before. And they set one of these big giant batteries on top of an empty reel, and they forget about it, whatever, because they handed them out. And later on, they're picking up something else, and they set it on top of it, another big giant reel. And when they set it on top of it, it looked like a 60-foot flamethrower.
Oh yeah, they go up.
And they had to shut the substation down, do a job safe brief, blah blah blah. This all kinds of stuff. And I thought, if they banned DeWalt from substation work, I'm gonna be so pissed. But they didn't. But looks like we're 8 minutes after. But hey, man, time flew by today. I was really stressed from work today, so I enjoyed today's live. I got my decompression, my happy hump day from the camaraderie of my brothers here, as well as the audience are and I appreciate everyone who's joining the Facebook group and watching our community grow. And it's really nice to see the same people come back over and over and over. And like I said, sometimes it's to learn, sometimes it's just a BS. But either way, whatever it may be, thank you. I appreciate all you guys. You guys want to say anything on the closeout?
I'm sleepy. Thanks all.
Yeah.
Time for bed.
See y'all next week.
See you. Thanks for being here.
See you next week.
Thanks. Bye.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.